It's all up in the way now. Let me get some space now. We don't feel a threat. Thought I told you I've been coming for your neck. This you won't forget.
Bro, this kid.
This kid what? This kid what? Hey. Oh.
Check your targets.
That's the most kill cam I've ever seen in my life.
So y'all probably wondering, how do we beat this Warzone meta in Cold War? And if you don't know what I mean by that, the DMR was one of the most popular guns in Warzone, and if y'all ain't see the recent changes to it, it did get nerfed a little bit damage wise not too long ago, and in my opinion that made some players from Warzone use it a little bit more on Cold War, since Cold War the gun wasn't nerfed yet. And if you play pubs, you'll notice that meta change, and you'll see that a lot of people have been using the DMR a little bit more in pubs, and I feel like you could counter that with an even better gun and the best loadout with it, and that gun is the Type 63. So the Type 63 is another tactical rifle that y'all should use if you want to counter this DMR in these Cold War pubs or whatever type of game you're playing on Cold War, because a lot of people have been using these DMRs in the Cold War pubs as if it was a Warzone build. And if you notice, without the task force attachment on the Type 63, the damage is at 68. With task force, the damage goes up to 74. Now remember that 68, we're gonna go to the DMR, we're gonna compare it with your match grade, and it's at 58, so that's 10 points lower than the Type 63 damage wise without task force. With task force, the DMR goes up to 72, but it's still less damage than the Type 63, and with these attachments you'll be able to counter that DMR in these Cold War games. So let's start with the optic first. So the optic, I go with the quick dot LED, but this is preference. You don't have to use a quick dot LED. My favorite optics on this game is usually the quick dot LED, the Hawksmoor, or the Microflex, which you don't see here in this list, but it's in the other guns. For the muzzle, gotta go with the Spetsnaz compensator, which gives you that 25% vertical recoil control increase. You do lose a little bit of horizontal recoil, but you want to prioritize the vertical recoil control. That being said, let's head to the barrel. In that barrel, you do gotta unlock task force at a certain level, but once you get to that level, task force is a must to get that damage increase up to 74, and you get that effective damage range increase and bullet velocity increase. The vertical recoil control, you lose a little bit, but it balances out from the previous attachments, so don't worry about that too much. Onto the body. Me personally, I used to use the steady aim laser before I had this gun diamond, but you don't really need the laser that much. So like I said, this is all preference too, but you don't really need the laser like I've been saying. So just keep that in mind. And we gonna go on to the next. So the next one, the underbarrel, and I throw on that bruiser grip, and I feel like y'all should too. If you want that movement speed increase, the sprint moving speed increase, shooting and aim walking movement speed increase, because you want to stay quick with your strafing, whether you're trying to evade out of situation, and you want to keep getting right with the gun. So throw on that bruiser grip on the underbarrel. For the magazine, I use the GRU mag clamp just to have that reload quickness and that max starting ammo. That aim down sight time, small 6% decrease, but you don't feel it too much. So I would throw that on. But if you wanted to, you can switch to the other ones here. This is also preference. I would say just don't start with this first one because you want a little bit more rounds in your gun. But for the handle, got that serpent wrap. So remember how I was saying you do lose a little bit of ADS time from the previous attachment? You get that right back with this one right here. You get that 25% ADS sight time increase. You want to be able to react quick when you're in battles. This is it right here. Use this wrap. As for the stock, me personally, I like to move around quick, but this is all preference to your playstyle. But this Raider stock gives you that shoot moving speed and that aim walking movement speed increase too. Don't trip, this gun still got good firing from the hip, even though this -15 hip fire accuracy is shown in the cons. And that right there is your attachments for the Type 63, and I promise y'all gonna win the fights 9 out of 10 times against the DMR with this gun and this build. Enjoy it while it lasts, because I feel like the DMRs and the attack rifles probably gonna end up getting nerfed soon on Cold War, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Since there's a lot more guns on this game to be used, you won't see as hard as a nerf, I don't think, compared to Warzone, where a lot more people are just using the DMR. But you want to counter those Warzone players trying to bring their DMRs over into Cold War, this is your build right here. And appreciate y'all watching the video. Make sure y'all like and subscribe if y'all ain't already. Stay tuned for the next videos, and I'm out.